Okay. I'm going to read chapter 33 of Genesis, King James, and Message in one video. This is the King James Version. And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children unto Leah, and unto Rachel, and unto the 2 handmaids, and he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost. And he passed over before them, and bowed himself to the ground 7 times, until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran to meet him, and embraced him, and fell on his neck, and kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted up his eyes, and saw the women and the children, and said, Who are those with thee? And he said, The children which God hath graciously given thy servant. Then the handmaids came near, they and their children, and they bowed themselves. And Leah also with her children came near, and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph near, and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said, What meanest thou by all this drove which I met? And he said, These are to find grace in the sight of my Lord. And Esau said, I have enough, my brother, keep that thou hast unto thyself. And Jacob said, Nay, I pray thee, if now I have found grace in thy sight, then receive my present at my hand. And therefore I have seen thy face, as though I had seen the face of God, and thou wast pleased with me. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to thee, because God hath dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough. And he urged him, and he took it. And he said, Let us take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before thee. And he said unto him, My Lord knoweth that the children are tender, and the flocks and herds with young are with me, and if men should overdrive them one day, all the flock would die. Let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly, according as the cattle that goeth before me, and the children be able to endure, until I come unto my Lord unto Seir. And Esau said, Let me now leave with thee some of the folk that are with me. And he said, What needeth it? Let me find grace in the sight of my Lord. And Esau returned that day on his way to Seir. And Jacob journeyed to Succoth, and built him a house, and made booths for his cattle. Therefore the name of the place was called Succoth. And Jacob came to Shalem, a city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan. When he came to Padan Aram, when he came from Padan Aram, and pitched his tent before the city. And he bought a parcel of the field. Where he had spread his tent at the hand of the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. And he erected there an altar, and called it Elohe Israel. Sorry, sometimes I fumble with the King James Version. Getting better though. We're going to move on to the Message version. Jacob looked up and saw Esau coming with his 400 men. He divided the children between Leah and Rachel and the 2 maidservants. He put the maidservants out in front, Leah and her children next, and Rachel and Joseph last. He led the way, and as he approached his brother, bowed 7 times, honoring his brother. But Esau ran up and embraced him, held him tight, kissed him, and they both wept. Then Esau looked around and saw the women and children. Who are these with you? Jacob said, the children that God saw fit to bless me with. Then the maidservant came up and with their children and bowed. Then Leah and her children also bowing. Finally Joseph and Rachel came up and bowed to Esau. Esau then asked, and what was the meaning of all those herds that I met? I was hoping that they would pave the way for my master to welcome me. Esau said, oh brother, I have plenty of everything. Keep what's yours for yourself. Jacob said, please, if you can find it in your heart to welcome me, accept these gifts. When I saw your face, it was as the face of God smiling on me. Accept the gifts I have brought for you. God has been good to me, and I have more than enough. Jacob urged the gifts on him, and Esau accepted. Then Esau said, let's start out on our way. I'll take the lead. But Jacob said, my master can see that the children are frail, and the flocks and herds are nursing, making for slow going. If I push them too hard, even for a day, I'll lose them all. So, master, you go on ahead of your servant. While I take it easy at the place of my flocks and children, I'll catch up with you in Seir. Esau said, let me at least lend you some of my men. There's no need, said Jacob. Your generous welcome is all that I need or want. So Esau set out that day and made his way back to Seir, and Jacob left for Succoth. He built a shelter for himself in sheds for his livestock. That's how the place came to be called Succoth, sheds. And that's how it happened that Jacob arrived all in one piece in Shechem in the land of Canaan, all the way from Paddan Aram. He camped near the city. He bought the land where he pitched his tent from the sons of Hamor, the father of Shechem. He paid 100 silver coins for it. Then he built an altar there and named it El Elohe Israel. The mighty is the God of Israel. Sorry, I got really tongue twisted today. I'm not really sure why. But that was chapter 33 of Genesis. And there was all this build up, about what was going to happen. When it was so much build up that was even before Jacob left. What was going to happen to Jacob? And after all of this that Jacob had been through, Esau didn't even want any revenge, seemingly, at least. And enough to where he didn't take revenge on him here in this chapter. I did kind of find it a little bit funny that Esau would say, why did you send those, was all those things you sent before I actually saw you? What was all those herds, I think he knew deep down. Come on, not even deep down. He probably knew. You know why your brother did that. He's scared. You were talking about killing him. And now he's back. And you know exactly. Don't act like you don't know how he left. And why he was even gone was because of this. This was the main reason. I guess the second reason was for him to find a wife, of their own people that walked with God or knew God. Well, I thought that was a little bit hilarious that Esau's like, why did you sin that? Esau, you know why. Anyway, turns out, it was all for nothing. Even if he came with his 400 men, he didn't do anything. God was on his side. Whatever it was, maybe God was working on him during the whole 20 years, behind the scenes. And that just makes me think of like things in real life, well, that's real life, but I mean like in today's time, in our lives, where maybe you had a falling out with someone, maybe you didn't, and someone had a falling out with you, and it's, they're just gone or something. It could be your child, it could be a loved one of some type, or a friend, or whatever. And sometimes you never see these people again. But whether you see them again or not, it's just really interesting to know that, using this as an example, you never really know what that time is doing on the other end. It could be softening. God could be working with that person and working on that person just like they're working on you. And, when it's time to reunite, you could be transformed human beings. Jacob was definitely transformed in many different ways. I mean, he has all of this stuff in his family. And Esau did too, apparently. He was doing very well for himself during these 20 years. And I imagine, because of how Jacob reacted in this chapter, in the last few, he anticipated his brother's anger. He anticipated his brother feeling the same anger that, I guess, inspired a possible murder that made him flee. He was still thinking that his brother was holding on to that all these years, and it looks like, seemingly, so it seems in this book, it looks like he got over it. So I say all that to say, like, if you're in a situation like that, and maybe someone you once knew or cared or whatever, they're gone, or maybe, you're taking a break, or maybe a lot of years have passed, you never really know how God could be working on their heart. They might not even be angry with you the way that you think because you betrayed them or they betrayed you or whatever. I know for me, for certain people who've backstabbed me or even left me for dead, I'm not even kidding. Some people were just so cruel that I thought was like the closest people to me and like really cared, and they acted like they cared. They said they cared, but when it really came down to, life testing if they cared or not me testing, but just life circumstance testing if they really cared or not, they were nowhere to be found, like, geez, so I imagine like some of these people that never came back into my life, at least not yet, some of these people are never coming back for sure, but there are some that I know probably are going to make a reappearance. But I imagine that, and it has been confirmed through other people telling me, that some of these people think like I'm holding a grudge or like I'm angry or whatever at them. No, I was never angry. I was just really deeply disappointed and saddened and really hurt by the fact that they didn't really care about me. And I spent a lot of years thinking that they did, and they didn't. And it just makes me think of this scenario, I'm not really thinking about what these people are doing now. I hope that they find God and, that they learn the truth about life and make better choices and treat people better, mature and grow from that. But some of these people, through others, it's been confirmed that they think that I'm like holding a grudge or that I'm like cursing them and all this stuff. And I'm not. Like, if you really love someone, and for me, these are people that I really care about and really loved. And considering the fact that I really, truly did love them and still do, I'm not going to curse, like, of course, I know God's going to have his vengeance, like there's a consequence to the choices that we make. And when you're purposefully abusive toward another person or misusing another person or just betraying another person, like there's some recompense. It isn't my doing and it has nothing to do with me. I don't need to see it, but it's in the Word of God. Like, what goes around comes around, and you reap what you sow. All that stuff is true. I don't need to have revenge. I don't even need to think about revenge. What I need to do is pray that these people, that if I really love them, pray that they be saved, pray that they find God, pray for them to be better people. And that's what I pray. I love them, and it doesn't matter if I see these people again or not. I still truly love them, and I wouldn't do what was done to me. But none of that really matters. I'm kind of like Esau in that way, where it's like, if you actually did come and approach me at any of these points, even before you did what you did, But even now, if you came and approached me, I wouldn't have anger or revenge on my heart. What's the point of that? That's not even my character, and that's not the kind of person that I want to be. It doesn't matter what these people were to me. So, it seems that way. Who really knows? Because it looks also like Esau was going to take him under his wing, and Jacob was calling himself Esau's servant, even though we all know and Esau knows that Jacob has the blessing now. So it's just a lot of things going on there that even then Jacob kind of went his own way. He did not go and stay under his brother's wing. He did not take any of his brother's 400 men or servants or whatever. He was like, go on ahead. I'll catch up. We're tired. And in reality, I don't think that's really what was really in his heart. I think Jacob was something along the lines of thinking, we need to be separated. I just wanted to make sure that we were okay before, and this was enough. The fact that it says that in here, actually. Let me see if I can find it. But he's like, I just wanted to make sure that we were cool. And now that I know that we're cool, that's more than enough for me. I'm trying to find that really fast so I don't hold you up. Sorry, guys. I guess I gotta go, but I'll see you tomorrow on chapter 34 of